What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 131 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast on this Friday, December 19, 2025. I'm your host, Zach Malum. But before we get started, please subscribe below. Follow all of my social accounts. Let's start things off in the world of baseball as the New York Mets continue to make noise in free agency. On Wednesday, they agreed to a 2-year, $22 million deal with former Yankee reliever Luke Weaver. Weaver now joins a long list of former Yankees to join the Mets, including Devin Williams, who did it earlier this offseason. He also joins Juan Soto and Clay Holmes, who did it after the 2024 season. Weaver, now at the age of 32, a guy who started his career as a starting pitcher, 5.14 ERA in 144 starts as a starting pitcher, really struggled there, and the Yankees ended up finding an absolute gem in Weaver in September of 2023 as they claimed him off waivers. Weaver became a staple in the back end of the Yankee bullpen in 2024, a team that made it all the way to the World Series, and Weaver was a huge part of that, a career ERA with the Yankees of 3.21. But really, when you look at 2025, it all went downhill after Weaver dealt with some injury, a hamstring injury in early June after he took over as the Yankee closer, replacing Devin Williams. Before the injury, Weaver was lights out once again, 1.05 ERA in 24 appearances. Then he posted a 5.31 ERA in the 40 games after the injury. Just a horrible end to the year. And the big thing that stands out to me was his work in the big months of September and October. You look at 2024, September and October, 4-0 record, 1.65 ERA in 27 and a third innings pitched, just 5 earned runs allowed. Then you go to 2025, and it was the complete opposite, 13.97 ERA in just 9 2/3 innings pitched. He allowed 15 earned runs on 18 hits. The strikeouts weren't there as well, and Luke Weaver had a horrible end to the year for the Yankees. And something that was interesting to me is that the Yankees were ready to move on from Luke Weaver after last year and the setback that he had, the struggles that he had. The Mets happily took Weaver in the back end of their bullpen. 2 years, $22 million, $11 million per year for Weaver. I don't think the Yankees were willing to pay that, and they weren't even in the race, according to a lot of reports, for Luke Weaver this offseason. So the Mets end up getting Luke Weaver to add to the back end of their bullpen. Of course, they lost Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers this offseason, and then you look at adding Devin Williams alongside Luke Weaver. When those two were together in portions of last year with the Yankees, they were really solid in the back end of the Yankee bullpen. They just got to be consistent. And with the loss of Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers, like I mentioned, the Mets need to really figure things out in their bullpen. They also lost out on Tyler Rogers, who signed with the Blue Jays this offseason. So they're really replacing a lot in the back end of their bullpen. Yes, they struggled towards the end of last year, but there's a lot of high caliber bullpen arms that the Mets lost out on so far in free agency. So they end up grabbing the guys from across town. Devin Williams a couple of weeks ago, Luke Weaver this time. On the other side of New York, the Yankees are silent right now, and it's getting some of their fan base a little angry. I do want to warn a lot of the Yankee fan base that the Yankees don't need a lot this offseason. They did not lose a lot from last year. Of course, they need to now add to their bullpen where they lost a couple guys across town to the Mets. But other than that, they bring back Cody Bellinger. That's priority number one. If they do that and get back his tailor-made swing for Yankee Stadium, I think they're in a really good spot heading into next year. Yes, they can always add to their pitching, adding another starting pitcher if they can through a trade as well as through free agency, just keeping an eye out for some more arms that they could add to that rotation. That's really all the Yankees need right now. And other than that, their lineup is pretty much set. Of course, the fans are ready to get rid of Anthony Volpe, but I just don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, especially while Brian Cashman is still running things. That's really what it comes down to for the Yankees. So the silence is okay right now for the Yankees. It's December 19th. They still have a lot of time. As long as they end up getting Cody Bellinger, you as the fans should be very happy with what the Yankees do for the rest of the offseason, because they're probably, Brian Cashman's going to make a trade pretty soon, whether it's through a starting pitcher or a bullpen arm. Whatever it is, they'll figure it out and they'll be set for next season. So really relax right now, Yankee fans. I know it's getting a little antsy now coming towards the new year, but the Yankees will be just fine as long as they get priority number one in Cody Bellinger. So we'll see what happens, but the Mets end up signing Luke Weaver, and the Yankees are silent in the Bronx. A really hectic period of free agency for the New York Mets right now, and they add another bullpen arm from their guys across town. Shifting things to the world of basketball, as on Tuesday, the New York Knicks were crowned NBA Cup champions for the first time in franchise history. 124 to 113. They end up beating the San Antonio Spurs in the championship game, and the Knicks win the NBA Cup. A big achievement for this Knicks team. I know a lot of people are down on winning the NBA Cup and it's meaningless in the end. I think this Knicks team needed a jolt to start this season after the way they went out in the playoffs the couple of seasons before that. They added, of course, Mike Brown as their coach, and he's really set a strong precedent for this Knicks team to really come out of the East and hopes of winning an NBA championship for real. This is the way to start it. Go out, beat the good teams in a winner-take-all type of game. These are competitive games out in Vegas, and the Knicks end up getting the victory, and that's really important in my mind for this Knicks team as they have higher aspirations towards the end of this season, but this is a very good starting point. I do think it was ridiculous for the Bucks as well as the Lakers to hang up a banner for this NBA Cup championship after the last couple of years, but when you look at the Knicks, they decide not to, and I completely agree with it. It is meaningless to hang a banner for it. The meaning of this cup is to be an in-season tournament, an early season tournament, and really get some competitive games going early in the year rather than waiting till all the way till the playoffs happen and really giving your fans something to cheer about then, where the NBA regular season has really become a joke right now to the rest of the world. Now it turns into something with this NBA Cup early in the year. A lot of viewership, a lot of people talking about it, and the Knicks end up winning it. 124 to 113 behind 28 points from OG Anunoby, who was red hot in this game. They also got great contributions down low from the big man in Mitchell Robinson. 15 rebounds on the day, 10 of them on the offensive glass. I think a lot of that had to do with Victor Wembanyama dealing with some injuries on the other side for the Spurs, and he only played 20 minutes in this game. But for real, this is a very important win for the New York Knicks, looking towards the postseason and what they're able to do out of the Eastern Conference. So the Knicks end up winning it 124 to 113. They head into the next game last night against the Indiana Pacers, and they took down the Pacers in a tough matchup where the Knicks were down for a large portion of it. They come back and win 114 to 113, a Pacers team that's really struggling so far this year, 6-21 on the season they fall to. But they're also without their star man, Tyrese Halliburton. Pascal Siakam really picked up a lot of the slack, 26 points in this game, alongside Andrew Nembhard, the star guard right now for Indiana. 12 of 19 shooting, 31 points in this game. So you're looking at Andrew Nembhard and Pascal Siakam. Without Tyrese Halliburton, they've done a good job of really picking up the slack, but the Knicks had to find answers in this one, and the answer in the end was Jalen Brunson, who hit a big-time three with just a couple of seconds left on the clock. 25 points in this game, 10 of 23 shooting, 3 3-pointers from beyond the arc, as well as 7 rebounds, 7 assists in the game. Knicks dealt with a lot of injuries coming into this game, did not have a lot of their impactful players, including Karl Anthony Towns, as well as Josh Hart down low, that still don't have Deuce McBride as well. And the Knicks really figured out a way. They had some of those other guys coming off of the bench, some of the bigs coming in. They also didn't have Mitchell Robinson. I forget to mention him, who's really dealing with a different type of schedule. Another solid Knicks win as they continue to rack up victories right now, but they look towards a very tough matchup tonight as they host the Philadelphia 76ers in the second game of a back-to-back. It's a 7 o'clock start at MSG, and the Knicks come into this game as 3.5-point favorites, total sitting at 227.5. The real story of this game is all about injuries. Karl-Anthony Towns, of course, missed the last game, and he is a game-time decision heading into this one. Same with Mitchell Robinson, same with Josh Hart, same with Deuce McBride. So the Knicks really need to figure things out in terms of their injuries, and if they have some of those guys playing, they should be in good shape. Of course, on the other side, Joel Embiid is a game-time decision, dealing with an illness right now for Philly, who's 14-11 on the year versus the Knicks 19-7, as well as a 13-1 record on their home floor at MSG. The one loss coming to the Orlando Magic in the month of November. The Knicks have been unstoppable at MSG this season, and that's something they're looking to bring into a very tough opponent tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers. Make sure you tune in as the Knicks are rolling right now. Really feeling good after the NBA Cup win, the win last night with Brunson hitting the late game winner. It should be a good one tonight at MSG, 7 o'clock start. Sixers and Knicks at the Garden. Staying in the world of basketball, as St. John's hosted DePaul in the first game of Big East play this season, a 79-66 win over DePaul, and Dylan Darling was the star for St. John's in this game. 17 points on 5 of 9 shooting from the field. Really good stuff by him. And the St. John's Red Storm now are 7-3 on the year, still ranked 22nd in the nation. Just continuing to rack up wins is all St. John's needs to do. Not a great game in terms of their high-level scorers, but a couple of their guards really stepping up, and Josun Sanin, who had 15 points in this game, along with 9 rebounds, as well as Darling, who I mentioned, the 17 points that he had, coming off of the bench in this game. Ian Jackson was also involved, 10 points in this game on 4 of 7 shooting. So really getting the guards involved in this game, and that's something that you're looking for St. John's, who struggles to really find a consistent number one guard right now. They've got a lot of guys that they're really trickling in between Josun Sanin, Isaiah Sellers. You also have Dylan Darling, like I mentioned before. But then you have Ian Jackson, who's not really much of a point guard. He's more of a scorer and a slasher on the wing. When you look at the St. John's guards, the point guards overall, it really comes down to Sanin, Sellers, or Darling. Whoever's playing the best that night, that's really who they're going to follow suit on. And Darling played 25 minutes and scored a lot of points in this game. He also added 6 rebounds and 2 assists, along with 3 threes for St. John's in this game. So a big win to open up Big East play as they head down to Atlanta now. A huge matchup tomorrow afternoon, a 12:30 start on CBS as the CBS Sports Classic takes place in Atlanta, and they take on the Kentucky Wildcats, who are 7-4 on the year. St. John's still 7-3, and the Johnnies come into this game as 2.5-point favorites, total sitting at 156.5. And Kentucky has been a complete disaster in terms of their games against ranked opponents. They really have struggled so far this season, especially against the top-level teams that they've played against. Louisville ended up beating them in Louisville earlier in the year. They got trucked by Michigan State in the Garden in the middle of November. And then you look back to early December, where they lost to North Carolina at home, followed by a tough loss in Nashville, against Gonzaga. So really trying to figure things out right now. Kentucky is under Mark Pope, and they need to really find something to go after in this game against St. John's, I think that would be the guard play of Kentucky. They have to figure things out in terms of their guards. They, of course, have Denzel Aberdeen, who's leading the way for them in a lot of absence of injury for a lot of Kentucky's top guys. Jalan Lowe, who is the transfer from Pittsburgh, has come back from injury, hasn't been great to start the year, and Otega Owe being the leading scorer for them, trying to figure things out. That's really what it comes down to for Kentucky. If they can get their guards going in this game, they should be successful. But on the other side for St. John's, you have to dominate the big man battle down low with Bryce Hopkins, Zuby Ejiofor, along with Dylan Mitchell, who comes in off the bench, Ruben Prey as well. You got to get those guys involved down low. That's where Kentucky's really struggled, I feel like, is in the paint. They have not been the same team in the paint as they have in recent years. A bunch of monsters down there. They really don't have the same type of depth down low this season, I feel like. And when you look at the advantage that St. John's can have in this game, it's through Hopkins and Ejiofor on the block. So we'll see what happens. What a matchup we have. It's one of two matchups in the CBS Sports Classic. It's the first one, though. 12:30 start. Make sure you tune in. St. John's taking on Kentucky. A great battle down in Atlanta. Let's finish things off today in the world of football as both New York teams are in action this weekend. On Sunday, we'll start with the New York Jets, who come into a game against the New Orleans Saints down at the Caesars Superdome. A 1 o'clock start, and New Orleans comes into this game as 6-point favorites, total sitting at 40.5. Jets 3-11 on the year, Saints 4-10, and it's a battle of first-year coaches and rookie quarterbacks. Exactly what you want in the late season battle in the NFL. Really what it comes down to is the quarterback play in this game. Brady Cook getting another start for the New York Jets. Really struggled last week down in Jacksonville. Not a great game. He has 5 interceptions in 2 games this season for New York. And Tyler Shuck on the other side for New Orleans, a draft pick from earlier this year, has really stepped up as the Saints have gone in a different direction under Kellen Moore. They end up getting Shuck going, and there's 3-3 when Shuck starts games. 2-0 in their last 2 games against tough divisional opponents. They beat Carolina. They also beat Tampa Bay. 2 tough games, and they end up finding wins in both of them. And Tyler Shuck has been a lot better as of recent, and he's a big part of why the New Orleans ended up winning those games. They also have been really strong on the defensive side of the ball. Total at 40.5 in this game. It's low for a reason, and I think it's because of New Orleans defense in the dome, in the Superdome. They're really a strong team to play against, and that's what it's going to come down to. Can Brady Cook find his receivers? Mitchell and Mechie have gotten going so far this year. Garrett Wilson officially, it was ruled today that he will not play for the rest of this season, still dealing with that bad knee injury, according to Aaron Glenn. But when you look at the rest of the season for the Jets, is looking at the young quarterback that they have in Brady Cook, trying to see what they can have heading into next year. Still a question of whether or not they would draft a quarterback in this year's draft class. Still a question of who's going to be in this draft class in terms of the quarterback room. You know the guy at the top is going to be Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. But after that, it's a real free-for-all whether guys will go back to college, considering they will get plenty in terms of NIL money or not. They go to the draft and start their NFL career. So we'll see what happens in terms of that. But right now, the focus is on Sunday at 1 o'clock, and the Jets have a very tough game on the road in the Superdome down in New Orleans. The 4-10 Saints against the 3-11 Jets. Make sure you tune in on Sunday. As on the other side of New York, the New York Giants are at home at MetLife Stadium, where it's going to be pretty cold on Sunday. A 1 o'clock start as they host the Minnesota Vikings in this game. Giants 2-12 on the year, Vikings 6-8. And Minnesota comes into this game as 2.5-point favorites, total sitting at 43.5. The battle of the young quarterbacks. J.J. McCarthy on one side, Jackson Dart on the other side. J.J. McCarthy had a really, really great game a week ago, really strong, and he ends up getting the Monday Night Football win against, or the Sunday Night Football win, against the Dallas Cowboys, 34-26 in Big D. And they also won the week before that a complete crushing of the Washington Commanders in that game. 31-0 they won on December 7th. So back-to-back wins, and all of a sudden the Vikings are feeling a lot better about J.J. McCarthy. Their fans as well feeling a lot better about JJ. They want to feel a lot better about the other JJ, though, in Justin Jefferson, who really has struggled with JJ McCarthy at quarterback. Not the same Justin Jefferson that we've seen all throughout his NFL career, really. And he's just not been the same player. They have to get him way more involved. And no better way to do it against a Giants defense that has just been abysmal recently. The Giants racking up losses left and right, wherever you look. And every single one of those games, the opponent is just racking up points. The offense does not stand a chance. Jackson Dart doing all he can, but really, you're not going to win every game with 30 points. It's just not going to work like that. Allowing 30 points, you're definitely not going to win a lot of games, and that's what the Giants have been doing recently. They have to really press a reset button on defense. They've been having to do that for weeks, but now you only have 3 weeks left in the season. Just make a statement. Find something that works and go with it on the defensive side of the ball. It's not going to be easy against a really rolling right now Minnesota offense. They've looked good in the last couple of games, and they're looking to continue that. A tough game against the New York Giants, a tough game for the Giants against the Minnesota Vikings. Make sure you tune in Sunday at 1 o'clock at MetLife Stadium. But that will do it for episode 131 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast. Please subscribe below. I've been Zach Malama. Thanks for watching, and talk to you all on Tuesday.